Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just wanted to provide a brief update concerning TEFA, especially for those of you who are maybe looking for updates from the government. And we know how difficult that can be. And so I don't want to keep you waiting. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of understand what's going on. And along this particular video, hopefully you'll be able to find something that answers the question that you have in your heart. I do want to start with this statistic, which I thought was really amazing. According to the Texas Comptroller's Office, more than 5,400 additional students were recently awarded education freedom accounts, bringing the total awards to nearly 110,000 students. Isn't that really cool? I think that's amazing. And I am so happy for those students. Before we go any further, let me show you a few things that I think stood out to me as I was searching this topic. The first thing is that applications are now closed. So applications for the 2026 to 2027 school year are no longer even being accepted. So if you're interested in trying to apply for TEFA, this is not the right season to do so. So you could just close the video at this time because nothing else I say is going to be helpful to you. You'll want to wait until next year to apply for TEFA for the 2027 and 2028 school year. Just wanted to start out with that for those of you who are searching for that information. Secondly, I want to talk about how more than 5,000 new awards issued to the waitlisted TEFA students. That just means that 5,000 of you who were on the wait list, who were probably initially not even approved, have now been approved. So you would want to check the status. You would want to check the updates of your application because you might be among these 5,000 students who, to be more specific, 5,499. You guys have been awarded some extra funds. So something to think about as you're going through the day. Be sure to check your updates and just see, am I one of those? Is my student one of those? So that brings the total to nearly 110,000 students. As I stated before, that is so cool. And I'm very happy for those of you who were able to get in. I also want to share the funding timeline and installments. So when will the accounts be funded? Some of you are just like, hey, I just want to know, when is my money going to be there? Under the Texas law, students receiving funding for Texas education freedom accounts in installments. So the earliest students can receive is July 1st. That was 18 days ago. But for students attending or participating in private school, you're looking at the first installment is going to be included at a certain percentage, so you can like 25%, on July 1st. And they're basically going to break it up because the homeschool funding is $2,000, but the private school funds and the other funding options are much greater. And so they would want to break that up over the course of some time so that it's not all flooding to the student at one time. Which kind of makes sense, especially if you are, and here are the dates, by the way, if you're interested, you can just visit this website, educationfreedom.texas.gov, and they have the total amounts being distributed over a course of time. But it makes sense because you're usually paying for these things, oftentimes all at once, but sometimes you can even get on a payment plan, and the private school can help you or allow you to pay those out in installments. The next thing I want to show you is providers and vendors. So Heroes Mart Academy is considered a vendor, but so are dozens and dozens and dozens of other vendors. You would want to make sure that the vendor you go with, whoever that may be, are offering educational products and services that meet your needs. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a question here we can look. I would be interested to know if a person having spent their TEFA funds on some provider or service, if they are able to get a refund if they're not satisfied. It says, can funds be used for online or out-of-state programs? Can funds be used for career? Okay, well, those questions are not presented here, but that would be something I'd be interested in knowing. If I were a parent who only had a limited amount of resources, I would want to know if I'm not happy with these funds or with this provider, can I, exchange it or something like that. Also, this is for those of you who are already signed up for, these should be signed up for Odyssey, the Texas Education Freedom Accounts program timeline and funding schedule. We kind of briefly talked about the funding schedule, but if you need a recap, it's here as well. This gives you really great insight, especially into private school to homeschool, especially as funding amounts are finalized ahead of the award notification. So something to be aware of. And here are some very key dates. You have June 15th. What's going to happen then? Students whose schools confirm enrollment by the 15th will receive funding by July 1st. So if their schools had already confirmed awarded their enrollment, and this is for private schools, they're going to get their funds by July 1st. And they would have received their funds. Here's another key date, the first installment, as we were talking about earlier, July 31st, students whose schools confirmed enrollment can get their second installment. So that's kind of cool. So just kind of review this if that's something that you're interested and want to know more about. And there's quite a bit here. So if this is something for you to review, if that's the question you have on your heart. And finally, I was curious about what the Houston Chronicle thinks of this, especially for those of us who like to know what are others thinking. So when are private school vouchers launching in Texas? Here are the key dates. So they have some key dates as well. And the Houston Chronicle write about this article from a very optimistic, perspective. So I thought that was really nice. Essentially, they just describe what's going on and the funds that are being distributed, total amount of $1 billion. That's incredible. But the families are worth it. If you are doing your due diligence and carrying that responsibility of being a good parent who's going to take the bulk of responsibility away from the government onto your own shoulders to raise your own children and to educate your own children and to instill values to your own children, you deserve the award, and you deserve much, much more. I believe that homeschool parents should be given so many more opportunities to excel. I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, so take it or leave it. This is not based on TEFA, but parents who are homeschooling should be given all the resources they need to educate their children. Everything from laptops to books to, all the way down to paper, crayons, and pencils. That is my personal perspective, because you are literally shifting that burden from the public school system or the private school system. I'm referring to all the institutions onto your own shoulders. And that is a magnificent role. And that is a commendable role. And you're doing an amazing, amazing thing for society. However, unfortunately, it has not always been viewed in that way. But recently with TEFA and with other programs that are trying to alleviate the financial burden off the shoulders of parents who are trying their best to homeschool, who are trying to use resources wisely, I think that also is commendable. And so I'm grateful for Texas for doing this. And I'm glad that you're wise enough to jump on board as the program is rolling out. That's all I have for you today. I just wanted to give you that update because I felt like you deserved it. And I'm so sorry it took me a while to make this video, but thank you so much for tuning in, for being a part of this lesson today. Until next time, God bless.